Alrighty, hello. I've been dreading this all weekend. I've been putting this off and putting this off. I wanted to give this a few days to cool down in terms of the old zeitgeist and the whole news sphere that's going on around 40k at the moment. Female Custodes are now a thing, not just in the lore, but also in model form, which is a big, huge moment in the Warhammer 40,000, shall we say, lexicanum of what's going on in the entire space. So, a lot of my lovely peers, I've done amazing videos. Outer Circle's done one. I know Kaifa's doing one either today or tomorrow. And I wanted to let this cool down for a bit over the weekend, just so I could do my own research, do my own interviews with different people, talking to them, letting them know, like, I want to hear about what they have to say, and to write a script. Because I've had this script in my head for quite some time now. I knew it was coming. I knew we were going to get Female Custodes in model form. So I've been revising this script quite a long time as we've been going through the weeks and months. And now it's time to do it. So, without further ado, let's jump in to Female Custodes and why they are a complete embarrassment, but not maybe for the reason you think they are. Although they are that too. They are that too. If you like what I do, subscribe to the channel, do all that fun stuff. The Patreon's down below if you want to buy me a pint or a cup of tea or a coffee. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's get on with it. So, at the latest Warhammer New Year reveal, we were treated to Female Custodes in model form for the first time. But I am tired, folks, of all sides, left or right, I'm tired. The one thing I can say is that aside from the ridiculous heads on some of them, the models are actually pretty nice. If you've actually looked at the models, they're not bad. They look pretty cool. I think I have a picture of them here somewhere. Let me whack them on. Not those ones. Those ones, yeah. They look pretty cool. I quite like them. Alright. They finally have a less squatty posture and have appropriate swords that don't look like the oars of a little boat. I hate those big wide swords, man. They do my head in. As far as a model glow-up goes, a range glow-up, this is great. I hope, aside from the obvious, that this is a sign of how awesome the Grey Knights are going to look when they get their glow-up. Let's hope. There is a glaring issue here, and we'll get into that, but first, I should lay out my argument before I even start the video, alright? I am tired of all sides of this war between different parts, right and left, in Warhammer 40,000. Listen, guys, I get it, and I will get to that later on, about how much I sympathise with your plight, but this just seems like vultures fighting over a carcass that's already dead. For this, and Games Workshop's complete contempt for their own fanbase with their butchering of its lore, their preaching to us over political agendas they have no business being anywhere near, and their tone-deaf near constant price hikes, I'm out. I have been out for 2 years now, and exclusively play one-page rules or Exile Edition 40k with my beloved models. I have completely divorced Games Workshop from the sections of the hobby that I enjoy, and I advise before I go anywhere else with this video that you just do the same, alright? Walk away. Okay. Let's have a little go here. I stole this from Outer Circle. I'm not even sorry. It was awesome. Okay, I buy my models secondhand. I get them as gifts from family, friends, and subscribers who I'm lucky enough to get stuff from. Or at most, I buy them from a trusted third-party retailer that has a very good deal with Games Workshop, meaning Games Workshop get little money from my transaction, or as little money as I can afford to give them. I do not follow what Games Workshop does with the lore beyond what I need to know for the channel, and I do not consume their products in any way when I can help it. I even got Warhammer 3 Total War for free, right? I bought a White Dwarf the other month, right? And it was a big event. Oh my god, I bought a White Dwarf. It was from Tesco, right? Or Asda, so it wasn't actually giving Games Workshop any money, but I bought it, it was a big event. That's how little I get of Games Workshop's own products. Games Workshop does not get my money if I can help it. That is not just because of their practices, but everything surrounding the company beyond that. I am a long advocate now of the fact that if you feel strongly that Games Workshop has moved away from what you want, you should vote with your wallet and your energy, folks. Walk away. Divorce them from your hobby materially and otherwise. Stop buying their products and stop engaging with their terrible lore. Laugh from afar as you and your friends engage in an awesome hobby that has the best models in the world with none of the drawbacks. Imagine playing 3rd edition 40k or an edition you really love from the past or something like that with the modern models and paints. You are literally in hobby heaven. Walk away and, if you would like, make your own thing. Put your energies into something productive rather than constantly bitching about a £100 million corporation that does not listen to you and has no reason to listen to you. You are literally pissing into the wind by doing this and complaining you are getting wet. Step off the treadmill of political grifters on all sides online and otherwise preserve your hobby by actually building it independently of Games Workshop and the absolute nonsense that comes with them nowadays. I have spoken at length about how I consider myself more conservative in my views. I regularly get it in the neck from family and friends for being the most conservative of my tribe, and that's alright. That's okay. I get that. It comes with the territory of being conservative in your wider family of where you are, right? So my advice here is not meant as a barb to my own side, to my own folks. Guys, listen to me when I say this before you go to the comment section. I get why you are frustrated that Games Workshop keeps doing things like this and making a mockery of the thing you love. I was right there with you until I realised that this struggle is utterly pointless and that to actually win the war you are saying we are fighting, I needed to walk away and do my own thing. The only one thing Games Workshop listens to is money. Most of you complaining about female Custodes online will be right there pre-ordering 11th edition for the new shinies inside. Don't even bother trying to defend it or say you won't. You will. You will complain online about all of this stuff and then feed back into the machine anyway. Because it's all performative. It's performative. I chose to walk away not because I gave up, but because I have a responsibility to put my money where my mouth is. I have a very small platform, but it's still a platform that most people don't have. So I have an actual responsibility to do what I say I'm going to do. To not just complain, but to put action behind it. Most of the people online stoking up your outrage about female Custodes are laughing as your views and comments give them ad revenue on YouTube, and your money funds their Patreon or GoFundMe or whatever it is they've got going on, all while they order the next shiny box from Games Workshop directly. I'm sorry, I'll call it what it is. Outrage grifting, on all sides. And they get me too, don't you worry. I come across these channels and I end up so enraged about what this hideous company is doing to my hobby, then I realise I'm playing a game of toy soldiers. I'm painting little plastic men. I look at my daughter, my house, my life, and I'm ashamed of worrying about something that simply doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. If you try to make an argument that this hobby is everything to you, then I suggest you go outside, go to the gym, shower, and then meet a lovely woman, alright? It doesn't even need to be the same life as I have, right? You could just have a normal house or just have a family around you, like your mum and dad. Like put energy into them, put energy into your brothers and sisters, into your grandparents, especially into your grandparents. They're not always going to be around, right? That's the kind of thing you should be doing. Take it as somebody. I've lost both my grandparents and I love them both dearly and I miss them every single day. And I spent loads of time with my grandparents and I still wish I spent more with them before they started going downhill, before things, health-wise went off the rails for them. I wish I spent more time with them, celebrating them, listening to them. There are people out there that are worth your time more than this company that makes fucking toy soldiers, dude. When people say get a life, sometimes they're right. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. A lot of you will think I'm talking down to the conservative side here, but it is definitely both sides of the spectrum who do this. The left are just generally too cowardly to actually have their faces on camera most of the time, unlike the folks on our own side. And I will say that. At least the guys who are out there trying to stoke your anger and your indignation against Games Workshop, at least they're actually showing their faces, they're using their voices, they're on They're on here. They're not just on Reddit giving you snarky little comments. They're not just in your comment section giving you snarky little comments because they're feckless and they've got nothing going on in their lives. These are guys who are actually passionate about something, but I still think they're hitting the argument on the wrong end. What they're suggesting you do by emailing Games Workshop, by harassing Games Workshop, will only dig them further into that hole, right? We're trying to dig them out of a hole. They're going to go further in the further you chase them. If you just walk away, they'll come out like little rats, like little rodents, right? They'll come out. And that's when you get them, right? Not get them, but you know what I mean? That's when you bring them to the table. I fully support most of the things touted by more sane individuals in the conservative space, especially on YouTube. On immigration, public spending, the notion of what England is, we are almost completely aligned. I see my own areas around my own home filled with people who seek to want to smash cars and generally treat the native population as if we are the enemy in our own streets. We who were born here, who have paid into this country with our taxes from the moment we were old enough to earn anything. I see them all the time, lounging about the street in Liverpool, in the centre of town, in massive groups, when most people are at work. They're doing nothing, they're adding nothing. I'm right there with you. But here's the crust though. How does complaining about toy soldiers online help the cause to right these wrongs? Please explain to me how that works. Games Workshop is... A lot of people are out there saying that the culture war and this are the same thing. They're not. You're complaining about toy soldiers online. Don't get any more importance in it over than that, right? That's what this is. This is Games Workshop. Games Workshop is a company, and not even a particularly large one in the grand scheme of things, and that's just in the UK. In the UK, Games Workshop are not one of the largest companies, right? They're a large company, but they're not one of the big boys, right? They're just a company. They could collapse tomorrow, and nobody in Westminster would care or even notice. Or maybe the one or two hobbyists who are there might notice, but they wouldn't say anything. Why would you? Well, who cares, right? So how does you complaining about toy soldiers on the internet actually change the very real issues we are having about the erasure of our culture in our own country? You may say that Games Workshop is a part of that culture. I get it, but you're arguing about the 0.0.1% of whatever that is of the argument, and you're sticking there. That's not where the argument needs to be. You need to be going to your members of parliament. You need to be putting political pressure on people. You need to be advocating for what you want your children to grow up in. Advocating about why Games Workshop is taking away your shiny new toys is childish. Okay? Walk away. Use your wallet. The only recourse you have to combat Games Workshop if that's the thing you want to do. Games Workshop is done, folks. It's the enemy now. They're done. They're gone. They're finished. Okay? It's all done. Look at this model right here. Alright? They're gone. When the Third Reich rose, we didn't ask them to reverse course. We fought them the best way we could. And the best way you can fight against Games Workshop and what they're doing is to take your time, your effort, your passion, and most of all, your money, and to walk away from them. Get away. Go. To hit them in the only place that matters. Their wallets. This is the only way you bring Games Workshop to the table. And to be honest, I think even then, they would rather sink the ship than bring it into port to talk to you. That's Games Workshop. That's where they are. So that is why I think your energy is better spent engaging in your hobby away from Games Workshop and investing the energy you would have squandered complaining about them online into creating your own thing or celebrating things others have done away from the Games Workshop umbrella. That is your best weapon to fight back with. I brought up Black Lodge Games last time. I'm sure they're sick of me bringing them up, but I do admire them and what they do. When Dungeons & Dragons, as I said in my last video, went in a direction they did not agree with, they founded their own company and created awesome supplements that are now paying their bills, dude. People are actually buying their stuff. Real people who would have bought D&D products have decided to go in another direction when one was offered. There is another example, that of Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, and the Lotus Eaters over there, right? They could see that modern media was completely swallowed by leftist propaganda and felt like there was nothing out there that represented them. And so, Lotus Eaters was born, a website full of interviews, articles, and explorations that they would want to watch themselves. And people came and bought in. The Islander magazine, it's awesome. Dude, like, some of the articles they have on Tolkien are some of the best, like, Tolkien literature I've read in a long time. Of people talking about Tolkien and getting it right and getting to the nub of what's going on. There were no magazines out there for them, so they just created one. And now people are buying it. This is what happens when you actually step back and, instead of just complaining all the time, you do something about it. You make your own thing. You build it in the hope that they will come. They will give you the time of day. And invariably, the people do. They come. They arrive. And they want to partake in what you're selling. Place your energy into creating something awesome instead of sitting in the mire and complaining that it stinks. This is the time to create something. There is such a void of stuff out there for guys just like you. It's a void, it's not there. You can fill that void, and you can make a pretty penny doing it. Right, now, female Custodes. Finally. Alright, so, the issue I have, and I've always had with female Custodes, is the way they were introduced, rather than them actually being in the lore. That's my stance, where I've always been. But I do also think that you can look anywhere in any part of literature. I've got them on screen right now. I've come with receipts, right? You can look anywhere online, and you can find countless quotes about who the Custodes are, and that they are men, right? At the most, you could probably make an argument that Brotherhood can be gender neutral, I suppose, if you really want to go there. But it's still weird. The fact of the matter is, Games Workshop told you that Custodes were male all throughout the history of Warhammer 40k, where they were. My issue is not with the fact that this changed, because there are lore reasons why it could change, and maybe that it should change. I don't have an opinion on that, but I'm telling you now, logically, there is. People who are telling you that there's no logical reason why there should be female Custodes are wrong. You can actually make it work, and I will tell you how to in a minute. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. It's not the fact that they changed, it's the way that they changed, and why they changed. That's the problem. Okay? The why and the how is the problem. Okay? Not the fact that it happened. Let me go over here. And let me start reading this, because this may change a few minds, or may not. Let's see. I do believe that Games Workshop could have stuck to their lore and had female Custodes by simply saying there were women involved in the Brotherhood, which is weird, I know, but less weird than what they actually did. And then they explore how the Custodes are made. Now, I have 2 points here that I hopefully will satisfy everybody, alright? But maybe not, but it's a suggestion. Number 1. Custodes are made bespoke, as a work of art. Each time they are made, as such, no new Custodes can be made without the direct input of the Emperor, meaning each of the 10,000 is precious, and that is the reason they are never allowed to leave Holy Terror. So right there, we've solved one big lore problem in the bud. Why did the Custodes never leave Terror? Games Workshop say they were sad. No, that's retarded. That's ridiculous. Now we have an actual reason why, without the Emperor, we can't make any more. We need his direct input in the process. So they're precious. And there's probably a lot less than 10,000 now. Such was the refinement and genius of their making that the Emperor could make any suitable human being a Custodes. Gender had no bearing on who could or could not become a Custodes. They were custom made as a work of art, each one completely unique. Alright? Now, a lot of you will be frothing at the mouth saying, well, that's not really reason why we can have... Well, listen to what I'm saying, right? Number 2, this also means, as a double-edged sword, that female Space Marines can never be a thing, as they are mass-produced. The art of making them is far more crude than that of a Custodes. Even at the height of his powers, the Emperor could only make 10,000 Custodes. The legions operated in their hundreds of thousands, approaching 500,000 in legions like the Ultramarines or Wordbearers. The crudeness and speed of this process means only men can actually become Astartes. Even if the Emperor came back, he would likely not be able to change the process to include women because Space Marines are needed yesterday, everywhere, right now. Refining the process would take a lot of time the Imperium simply does not and will never have. So, we take away the fact that, Custodes are all male with one hand. We say, no, there are females in there. Right, but there's a law reason for it. There you go. It's tenuous, yes, but it is a law reason. We're respecting the law. And then we inject, but, hey guys, we will never give you female Space Marines. They will always be all male. We're not going to gesture of goodwill. We're not going to change anything else. We just thought this could change here and it'd be pretty awesome. If that's the rule, if Games Workshop just say, yeah, we just thought it'd be awesome to have big muscle babes in the Custodes. Yeah. We're never having female Space Marines, yeah, because, the law says, and it all makes logical sense that there shouldn't be female Space Marines. Plus, you've got Sisters of Battle, and you've got female Custodes. It's cool. You got badass women in power armor and massive pieces of armor. We don't need female Space Marines too. If they came with that attitude, a lot of these fires would be put out, in my opinion. A lot of people would be like, oh, okay. Well, I still don't like female Custodes, but, alright, I get it, right? The problem is that Games Workshop have not built up the trust to do a move like this. Even if they came at you with that attitude, how many of you would actually believe that that's what they were going to do and they're going to stick to it? Most of you wouldn't. Most of you would be like, yeah, I give it a week. Or I give it a year. And then they'll be back with female Space Marines. Anyway, in this solution, you get female Custodes and block off a very contentious issue in female Space Marines. Everybody kind of gets what they want. You can even say that the older war hosts of the Custodes are all male, as they were generally the first to be uplifted because it was a lot quicker to do so. This means female Custodes are a lot rarer, but they are there. Custodes players get to have all male armies if they wish, or mix them up if they don't care. Space Marine players and the wider 40k folk know that the law won't be changed for Space Marines, and at least some effort was made to make the whole thing palatable through existing law. Now, is this an ideal solution? No. The ideal solution is to never make the change in the first place, in my opinion. But if you have to have female Custodes, this is how you do it whilst pissing off the least amount of people possible. This is how you respect the fans who built your hobby, at least in a minuscule way. What did Games Workshop do? They just told you female Custodes have always been a thing, hinting that you're a moron for ever thinking this Brotherhood of Uplifted Warriors and Sons of Holy Terror were men at all. Thanks, Games Workshop. And nothing else was said. They're all now, like it, or just fuck off. Go somewhere else if you don't like it. Well, I suggest, folks, that you do just that. Listen to me. I'm going to take all these pictures off for a sec. Listen to me. Right? Look in the camera. Right? You look at me. Okay? Alright. Let's just say, me and you, right? We're at a party. Me and you. We go to a party together. It's awesome. Never met each other before. Like, hey, look, it's North. I'm like, hey, dude. And we get talking. We're having a really good time, having a few beers, putting the world to rights. And we realise everybody at that party fucking hates us. Right? They're all looking at us really weirdly, and they're all like giving us side-eye and stuff and making really funny comments. And then eventually, a representative from the group comes over to me and you and says, hey guys, we actually don't want you here. You're actually kind of like annoying us. Okay. What do we do then? Right? What happens? Do you stand there and complain until they grudgingly let you stay? Or call your names and bitch about you behind your back? Do you complain and say, no, I should stay here. Like, I want to be here. And so they go, oh, okay, fine, you can stay. Just stay over there. So you stay in the corner, and then they all just bitch about you and complain about you all the time. Great, right? Or do you come with me, where I suggest we go into the city, have a few beers, and put the world to rights, and find people we actually do like, and who do like us? Which one of those things do you do? Which one of those things is more logical? I'm appealing to your logical side. All 40k players have this. It's a superpower. Most of them, right? You have an almost autistic level of logic. Logically, which of those two is the optimal way to have a nice time? Have a good time. Exactly. Alright? That's exactly what's going on here. You've been told by Games Workshop you're not wanted. You've been told that they don't want you around here anymore. And sticking around is just, again, as I said before, it's rolling around in the mire with them and then complaining that you stink afterwards. It's like, yeah, dude, that comes with rolling around in shit. I'd rather not roll around in shit. I'd rather go and build my own thing. I'll build my own house. I'll have my friends round. We'll play my version of 40k. Or 3rd edition, or whatever. So, female Custodes are finally models. And to be honest, lads, I couldn't care any fucking less. This is a dead company morally that is now rolling around in the muck, and you want me to cry about it? Nah, mate. I have better things to do with my time, and you should too. I agree. The models are a travesty, and I will get to the lefties in a minute. The decision to do this at all was tone deaf, ridiculous, and pandering to modern leftist politics in a way that makes me want to fucking gag. I agree that more attention should be given to my wonderful Sisters of Battle and the Silent Sisterhood. Their lore should be expanded. They should be pushed as one of the major factions. The thing is, if representation actually mattered to Games Workshop, they would push the Sisters of Battle as one of the 40k armies. But representation means nothing to them. Only optics does. If you are on the left and you think this company loves and values you, then I have a chocolate teapot to sell you that actually won't melt. Trust me, mate, it won't. You are sheep. Worse than that, you are leading the bastardization of something generations of young men and old men would use to cope with the pressures of putting food on your tables. Young and old, Warhammer was our thing. Now, it is infected with your rot to the point that it's terminal and the patient can't be saved. All were welcome in Warhammer if you loved Warhammer. It didn't need saying or repeating back in the day. Warhammer was fine until you came along, and so long as the men and women of quality walk away from this nonsense, some semblance of Warhammer will remain for future generations without the long, decrepit shadow of Games Workshop hanging over it. That is your responsibility. That is where we are now. You are in a place where you can ensure that this hobby remains without the shadow of Games Workshop. You can have your Warhammer models, you can have your Warhammer editions, you can play Warhammer, you can do whatever you want with it, and just cut them out. Stop giving them money. Stop attending their events, and stop complaining about every single little thing that they do, because it makes them seem more relevant. Walk away, do your own thing. That is my advice about female Custodes. It was my advice last time. It's my advice now. Okay? I've put all my cards on the table. You know who I am politically. Okay? You know where I come from. And you know what I have to say on this kind of stuff now. Alright? You've got better things to do. You really do. Warhammer isn't Games Workshop. And complaining about... Again, I've said it all before. Like, the culture war and what's going on with Games Workshop are two separate things. You know, simply out of sheer size, rather than anything else. Out of sheer size, they're two separate things, in my opinion. You know, you may think Warhammer to you is so important that the entire world revolves around it, and that all of culture, all of this nonsense going on politically, that this is all fed into a part of Games Workshop. It's not. Games Workshop is just a bunch of lefty retards who just... You can't stop taking L's. just walk away. Do something else. Do anything else with your time. They don't deserve it, man. They don't deserve it. Hobby, it doesn't deserve saving. Do your own thing. Do your own thing. And have fun. Alright? Alright. I love you a long time. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below about female Custodes, about what's going on. Are you more hardline than I am? Are you less hardline? Do you love them? Do you want more of them? God knows why, but maybe that's where you are. everyone gets a chance to have their little say down in the comments. I love you a long time. I'll speak to you very, very, very soon, and have a good one. Bye now.